In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at the question, how does globalisation affect local industries? First of all, we need to think about what actually is globalisation. Well, it's the opening up of trade, investment, capital flow and migration around the world due to technological advances. It's this metaphoric shrinking of the world. If we look at an example, in 1953 it would have taken 41 hours and 4 stops en route to fly from London to Christchurch. Compared to this year, 2011, just 1 stop en route and down to 26 hours. Another example is the fact that you can eat at the same burger chain in the UK as you can here, and here, and here, and here, and even over here. Again, it comes back to this metaphoric shrinking of the world. But how does this actually affect local industries?
Hello, I'm here today with Mr. York, the owner of a local business. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you.
I'm here to ask you about how globalization has affected your company. Could you tell us?
Well, 50 years ago when I started my company, all our workers came from the local towns and villages. No one traveled far to come to work.
Why not?
Well, there were not so many cars in those days and the transport links were not so good. This also meant that most of our supplies came from the local area as well.
Where did your customers come from?
They were a bit further afield, but in those days people only knew about your company through the yellow pages. There was no internet back then. Therefore, the majority of our customers were still within the UK.
So how did globalization change this?
Well, first of all, the European Union and other countries opened up their borders. So now my workforce is from a variety of countries, particularly Eastern Europe. They generally work very hard and are prepared to work for less money than the locals. This has helped increase my profits.
Doesn't this create any problems for the countries of origin?
Actually, it does, I believe, because a lot of their skilled workers come over here to work because the money is better. Therefore, they don't have enough skilled workers in their own country.
How about your suppliers?
This has seen the biggest change due to globalization. Now, thanks to the internet, I can contact anywhere in the world at the touch of a button. Therefore, I can buy my supplies from the lowest bidder. This is often in China and India these days, as they are developing economically and have a very large workforce who are prepared to work for lower wages.
And your customers?
I have more customers now than ever before. I sell goods all over the world, thanks to globalization and the improvement of technology such as transport and the internet.
So, Mr. York, it seems that globalization has affected you in a very positive way, and the only real losers in this are the industries in the less economically developed countries who lose some of their skilled workers. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
So, how has globalisation affected local industries? Globalisation is the opening up of trade, investment, capital flow and migration around the world due to technological advances. It will affect local industries in different ways, depending on whether they are in an MEDC or an LEDC. International trade has improved, meaning local industries can now trade with many more countries around the world. Increase in migration has meant that local industries now have a workforce which is much more international than before. Economic development has meant that many local industries can now buy their supplies from countries such as India and China. This helps to increase profit margins. The increased availability of the internet has led to a much wider customer base than before for the local industries, again meaning profits can be maximised. However, in an LEDC, the effects of globalisation may be negative. The loss of skilled workers to MEDCs can cause a strain on resources.